All right. Hey, everyone. All right, let me just adjust this real quick. All right. Cool. We all set here? Yeah, I got that. All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis session. If you're new to the stream, welcome. All right. We have a few things to go over here today. So first, real quick, let me explain how this works. I'm going to go over the economic calendar first. You can pull up the one from TradingView, or you can pull up any other economic calendar. We have a heavy economic week this week, so it's certainly worth keeping an eye on. Number two, we're going to go into this price action because today's title is obviously the problem with this price action. And there's a couple of things I want to point out to help you protect yourself from things. All right, so we'll talk about that. And then, of course, I'll answer questions from students. I am simulcasting on TradingView. I see Adam from TradingView. Never watch any of your streams. Cool. I'm glad you're watching. Welcome. All right. So people on TradingView, if you can't see me for whatever reason, you can just refresh the browser there, and that usually solves the problem. Okay. So with that said, let's get this thing started. Let me just pull this slide up. Okay. So this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right. Now, so real quick, before I get into the chart, let's talk about a few things. Oh, by the way, let me say hello to my people here. All right. Let me just pull this up so I can see what's going on. All right. So I got Kai with an interesting question. Steen, good to see you. Sean, all right. Degen, okay, cool. Good to see you all. Again, Kai asks me real quick, what's your favorite Italian food? Okay, I got to answer this question real quick before I get into this. Well, since I'm half Italian, I like it all. No, I'm just joking. My favorite Italian food would be eggplant rollatini. But that's an interesting question. Why do you ask? Are you spying on me or something? I'm just joking. All right, so anyway, yeah, that's my answer. Okay, so real quick, let me just mention this also. If you're looking for like a platform, or you're looking to change platforms or whatever it is, an exchange for to trade Bitcoin or Ethereum, blah, 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 you can go to, we have a channel in the Discord community. By the way, it's free. It's in the link in the description. And there's a channel there called Platforms and Exchanges. And we have some links there. Also, the links are in the description here as well. And it's for Bybit and for MEXC. If you sign up for one of those and you deposit funds and you actually place trades, Steen here will get a small commission, right? Those are his affiliate links. And it helps a long way to support the community because he does a lot of great work behind the scenes that people don't see. And it's really making for a better experience for everyone. Okay, so just wanted to point that out real quick. All right. Now, and we have a couple of things that TradeScanner has done pretty well with this long signal. We're going to talk about that here in a moment. Let's get into the economic calendar. Okay, so first thing I have to say about that is, let's like item by item. First thing we have, right, is tonight we have Bank of Japan at 10 p.m. Eastern time, Bank of Japan interest rate announcement. Now, that can affect things if there are any surprises there. The Bank of Japan has always been at a pretty much locked interest rate for decades. And any significant changes there can affect things. So please keep that in mind. These items, by the way, these economic items, this is important if you have day trades and swing trades on. These items aren't here for us to take on new trades. These items are here for us to be aware that we can get some sort of dramatic range expansion, and we don't want to be caught on the wrong side. So our goal is to mitigate risk. That's the whole purpose of being aware of these economic events. Okay, so we have the interest rates coming out of Japan. That's the first one. And then what? We have tomorrow, Tuesday, which is the 31st, we have Bank of England. They have their rate announcement, I believe. Now, there's some other reports here and there, like I think Australia has like CPI. Well, those are going to be, they're not going to be significant at all. Unless you have trades on like in the Aussie dollar, particularly day trades, you're probably not going to see much action there because we have such heavier news that's coming out throughout the week. So that's tomorrow, right? Pound, Bank of England, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they have their interest rate announcement no, I'm sorry. I think I'm wrong about that one. Maybe you guys can correct me, but I know they have one this week. Wednesday is a big one. That's the FOMC, correct? So Wednesday, we have the Federal Open Markets Committee. They have their interest rate announcement, right? And then there's usually a press conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. The announcement comes out at 2 p.m., followed by the press conference at 2:30 p.m. Be aware of this. This is going to be heavily watched. People are looking for leadership from Chairman Powell or some sort of idea of what's coming. They want to hear, they want to hear that he's going to pause rates. I mean, those would be bullish outcomes, right? He pauses. I doubt he's going to say cut, but, pause, something like that. If he's hawkish, then all this bullish nonsense that you're seeing today will probably go away quickly. Understand that this is not exactly a bullish market we're in. So there are times when we can have these irrational movements for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. The point is, don't get caught up in it. Understand the bigger picture, because that's where all the weight is. Okay. When I say bigger picture, I'm talking about interest rates. Now, and we'll take a look at those. Yeah, Alex, eggplant rollatini. Okay. Anyway, it's probably an Italian American thing. It's probably not like a real Italian thing. So the next item on the list, right? We have what? We have non-farm payrolls on Friday. Okay. When is the Bank of England? Is the Bank of England on Tuesday, you guys? I believe it's on Tuesday. I could be wrong. Maybe on Thursday. But I know it's this week. So you have Bank of England, right? Then we have FOMC. And then on Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. Non-farm payrolls is probably the most anticipated monthly scheduled economic event, right? At first Friday of every month, that comes out. So we have a bunch of stuff coming out this week. So non-farm payrolls is usually 8:30. Oh, Kai, thank you. So I'm sorry about that. I mixed up Tuesday and Thursday. The British pound is on Thursday, okay? Or the Bank of England comes out on Thursday, which is November 2nd. And then Friday, we have non-farm payrolls, okay? So that's why make sure you double check the economic calendar. I get my days wrong sometimes. So the point is, you want to be able to mitigate risk going into that. If there are any surprises, you can see a range expansion. Now, something like FOMC and something like non-farm payrolls can heavily affect the US dollar. And if there's a major move there, you're going to see major moves across all the other currency pairs. You're going to see the S&P get affected. You're going to see everything get affected. It could be bullish. It could be bearish. There's no way to know in advance. A chart is not going to tell us in advance if there's a surprise, right? So again, this is about mitigating risk and playing a strong defense, not pretending to know the future, right? Everyone likes to pretend that they know the future, and it's nothing. There's no greater lie than that in this game. A chart can't even tell us the future, really, with any degree of certainty. We have to accept that markets are random, and we have to adjust to new information as it becomes apparent, okay? And a chart can help us manage risk. All right. So that's the economic calendar. Make sure you guys are on top of that. Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you want to share what country or what city you're from, that's always a fun fact. I am streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. That's why I got the Italian thing, right? That's why I talk like that. They all talk like that here. I'm joking. They don't talk like that here. Greetings from the north. Okay, cool. North of what? North of the U.S., Canada. North could be the North Pole. All right. Anyway, I'm joking today. Today is a joking day. All right. So let's make this chart bigger, and let's take a look at why I'm saying the problem with this price action. Why am I using this title here? Let me put this here. Okay. So first thing, I wrote my article on TradingView yesterday, right? And in my article, I talked about we actually had a buy signal back here, right? You see the pin bar there on the daily chart. Now, the trade scanner, by the way, picked up a bunch of longs, right? I saw XRP was one of them. Litecoin was one of them. Ethereum was one of them. You realize it's all the same trade. And I believe it took some profits. Like it took profit on, was it XRP? There's a couple of them. Now, that's a 1.5 to 1 reward risk. That type of situation where we have a predetermined take profit will shine in this type of price action, because while the whole world is expecting 50K, right? The robot basically just says, here's 1.5 to 1 reward risk, getting out, taking the profit. And you don't get caught up in this noise that we're dealing with right now, right? This can really be confusing. And that's what we're going to, partly what we're going to talk about here. But the trade scanner picked up some nice trades there. And that's the whole idea. When the momentum is bullish, it's going to find these trades that you are not going to be able to recognize. The other thing is on the daily time frame, because the trade scanner works on a smaller time frame. The daily time frame, right? There were a few buy signals over the recent couple of weeks. I talked about those in my previous stream, but we had one the other day. Now, I wasn't able to call this myself because I'm just too wrapped up right now getting the new website complete. I think by next week, possibly, we'll have this thing. I'll be able to talk about it. Okay, but it looks nice, and we're just working out some of the functionality, and then we can talk about it. But until then, I'm kind of wrapped up in that. But I like to make my own calls sometimes, right? When I see things, and there was a call right here, and of course I'm talking about this after the fact. But you guys can see the pin bar, right? You guys can see the pin bar here on this chart. That was what? That was on the 26th. That was on Thursday when that candle closed. So that pin bar high, right, was 34,245. Right, I'll draw a line there. That was right here. That was actually a buy signal, right? And that's when, after that signal went off, that's when the trade scanner started picking up these things on the smaller time frames. But that was the actual buy signal. It took it out the next day and kind of, messed around. No real progress until like what, Saturday or Sunday. It started to move, right? We had that green candle, got everyone excited, and now here we are now. Okay, so that type of pattern is a continuation pattern, and it's a continuation of this momentum, right? Now, in theory, this thing should go what I drew here, right? In theory, this thing should work its way and make the higher high and work toward that next resistance, which is 37K. That's up in here. Now, 37K dates back to 2021. I'm not going to zoom the chart out right now, but that line basically dates back that far. So I would anticipate selling type of activity in that area, and it's a great place to take profit or consider take profit levels for swing trades. Now, all during this time, you should be considering day trades, right? Day trades keep you out of this larger magnitude of risk, but day trades can be very hard if you don't have some kind of system, some kind of rule-based way to making these decisions. You can't just feel it out and be like, oh, this feels good, I'm just going to do this. You're never going to get anywhere like that, okay? You're guaranteed to fail doing something like that. Now, because when you have this kind of noise, you can easily get caught, and you can get caught on the wrong side, and it can turn into a mess, especially if you're not using stops or you have poor risk management. Now, swing trades are also acceptable because, again, the thing is, these levels, this is not exactly an opportune level here, right? We're looking for the momentum continuation. As a day trader and as a swing trader, we're really only interested in momentum. Why moves happen don't mean anything. I know everyone likes to get caught up in that because they like to feel informed. It's just a good feeling. I understand, but it doesn't get you anywhere. Randomly, it may make you money, but randomly doesn't pay the bills, right? So the thing is, if this thing fails here, right, we may have a conflicting signal. And I wrote about that as well. The skill in this game is adjusting to new information, not trying to project the future. Charts will not help us with that. There can be some surprise news this week from the FOMC. There can be a surprise on NFP, and this chart can completely change as a result, which we cannot see here at all. There's no way to measure that probability. It's random, okay? Look up efficient markets. Now, so this candle is not continuing, right? So let me give you the scenarios here. Never think in one scenario. It's good to think in multiple scenarios, right? The bullish and bearish scenario. The general structure here is bullish, yes, and there should be continuation, and it's floundering right now. What's interesting is the stock market is doing well today, right? But recently the stock market has been pretty bearish, and this thing has been bullish, and now the stock market has a nice day, and this thing sucks, right? That's interesting. It used to be the other way around. Things change. Now, this candle right here took out the previous candle high. The next few candles, right, the bullish scenario over the coming few days should look like this, okay? We should see like some sort of expansion there, right? Some sort of expansion here, maybe some fooling around, but that's the look we're looking for. If we don't get that look, then there's something that's not right, okay? That means we don't have the momentum that the structure implies. So if we get this bearish candle close, like it's looking like it wants to close now, if we get that close, right, you guys see that? We get that bearish candle close, Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, hold on. All right. We get this bearish candle close and we take out the low of the candle. That's not a good sign. That's a sell signal. Okay. That would be 34, basically 34,095. You can round that to 34 even. We start taking out 34 even. That's a conflicting signal. So that calls for adjustment. If you're in something, maybe get out, take a small loss. If you have a small profit, maybe take it. Okay, reduce your position. That's what I mean by adjust, right? Now, that doesn't mean that this thing turns bearish. All it means is we have a conflicting signal and that this momentum is not wanting to follow through on this leg. That's all that means, which means we can pull back and we can test possibly this support, because by the way, this area right here, that's our next support level. That's our next relevant support level. That's between what? 32.8 and what's the bottom of that? 31. So basically we can say 33 to 31, that range, right? Inside of that range, that's our next support. So if price is going to pull back and still remain bullish, it should not blow through that area. It should not clear that area. We should not see price pushing here. Okay. If price is pushing here, something has changed. So understand that if we pull back into this area, there will probably be swing trade buying opportunities. While all your favorite experts and all your fake gurus and even the regular news outlets are called, oh, Bitcoin's bearish. Bitcoin's going back to 20K. That's usually when they come out with that nonsense, right? When we're pushing back into a support. So keep this level in mind. We may not pull back that far. I'm giving you a range of scenarios. We may only pull back to this area right here. That would be a failed low. That would be actually an ideal place for a swing trade. The trade scanner will probably be calling longs in that area. Okay, if we get a buy signal confirmed there, that would be just basically a consolidation, and then we would be looking for a next leg higher. Does that make sense, you guys? So let me see if I could just draw that like with just my little rectangle candles here. Like you get a little pullback into there, okay, followed by maybe another pin bar over here. Right here, let me erase this. Right, followed by a pin bar over here. Maybe you get an inside bar, right? Maybe you get something like this or a pin bar there. And then from there, you know, you're looking for something like this, okay? This is not a forecast. This is a scenario. Does the market follow this path or not? That's the judgment you have to make constantly. Constantly evaluate for that. But that would be the ideal bullish scenario. Okay, less than ideal would be it pulls back further into here, right? And then gives us the buy signal there. If it breaks that, then we're getting bearish, okay? Does that make sense, you guys? So those are the scenarios, and it all begins with this candle here. How does this candle close? Do we take out the low of the candle or not? If we just mess around a little bit and then we're taking out the high of the candle, then there's nothing has really changed, okay? And then we're following this path up here. Does that make sense? We're following this path at that point, which is what the structure implies has the higher probability. Now, just because like I'm assigning those probabilities, right? I have no statistical way to really arrive at those probabilities. I'm using structure and then I'm assigning the probability myself based on experience. So, you know, when the market changes, we simply adjust. We don't ask why. We don't get confused. We just say, I'm not going to get in this thing's way. We simply adjust. Okay. Hey, Will, good to see you. Isaac from Turkey. All right, good to see you guys. Armin from South Africa. All right, so any questions, you guys, about this? Let me see what's going on here on TradingView. I see a bunch of activity in here. Usually people on TradingView they're usually more shy. How long have you guys been, Adam asks that question. I mean, I've been involved in this since 2013, but not as actively. I mean, I got more active in 2017, I would say. Okay, 3 years, Mato says. Okay, this is just a conversation going on. Okay. Can you check Monero and XMR? All right. Well, I'm not really checking. I'm only checking for students. All right. Bitcoin was 65,000 2 years ago. That's right. Okay. Since the stream is generally about swing trades. Okay, he's just explaining. Okay. Yeah. All right, thanks. So I'm just checking the conversation there. Any questions over here on YouTube? By the way, guys, if you like the stream, press the like button, press the boost button or whatever, press the subscribe button on YouTube. As you can see, Alice has been helping me with content. He's been clipping a lot of my older streams with a lot of valuable information. You can see that on my YouTube channel. And I do have more content planned. So the more that you provide me support that way, the sooner I can get that out there, because my goal, my purpose is to really help the retail trader. Number one, protect yourself, because that should be your number one priority, especially in this environment, especially because this industry is the most deceptive industry in the world, and no one is out to help you, right? Especially experts and people in the mainstream news who claim that they're giving you leaked information. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick, because that's really like the kind of the purpose of this stream. So I put in the stream the problem with this price action. Okay, so let me explain what the problem is. So let's go back a bit here. Okay. Oh, and by the way, yeah, Steen, I want to go over CHZ because you asked about it a week ago, and I feel bad I forgot about it. But I will. Let me make this point, and then we can go over CHZ. So back, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, we had this situation back here. You see this, right? And the market was, Bitcoin was trying to pull back a bit, and Bitcoin was not. Now, back then, I don't know if any of you remember, but a lot of the sentiment was pretty bearish. In fact, this chart was generally bearish. I was even speaking of bearish scenarios because we were not breaking any resistance levels, right? So I would say the sentiment was predominantly bearish. Now, since then, right, what we had was fake news over here. Okay, this was fake news number one. That was from CoinDesk talking about that ETF nonsense. And then there was some other fake news somewhere along the line. I don't know when exactly it was. And we got this. Okay, so this to me reeks of heavy manipulation or engineering. All right, now understand something, and this is the point that I want to make. Understand something. Big people, powerful people in this game, okay, that have some sort of agenda, they can have their agenda pushed forward or facilitated by news outlets, for example, right? Leaked information. I saw some nonsense about a leaked report. Do you honestly believe in leaked information? Come on, right? These people are not out to help anyone, and it got leaked. My point is, these outlets, right, can easily be manipulated or incentivized by people behind the scenes to perhaps come out with mistakenly fake news and then apologize about it, right? Or anything like that. Because if they knew, if insiders know, if they knew that this market was heavily short, right? The retail trader was heavily short. All you have to do is make a phone call to Coinbase, right? And hey, tell me what your book looks like. I mean, a big person can call the CEO there and say, "Hey, what does your order book really look like? Are you more, are you net short? Are you net long? What does it look like?" If they can accumulate or get some of this sentiment somewhere, right, and they know that there's a heavy short in this thing, they can easily squeeze you out, right? And I think that's what this is. Understand that there's no regulation on this side of the game. So if a news outlet says something and then they apologize, there's no regulatory consequences because no one tells them what to do, right? The SEC doesn't, the CFTC doesn't. So they can do stuff like that. Understand that, okay? Again, this is about you protecting yourself. Understand how this game works. Now, again, I know it's a conspiracy theory on my side, but there is no regulation. That is a fact. And markets can be irrational for long periods of time. I don't exactly consider this a bull market. Yeah, this is a bullish move, but you can have dramatic moves like this in these type of environments to basically suck everyone in and whatever pushes the agenda forward, this ETF nonsense, okay? Maybe certain companies were accumulating here when everything looked bad and they get, the shorts get squeezed, and where do you think they unload? And who do you think they unload onto? Do you think these guys are doing you any favor? Do you think some of these companies come out that they're going to run the ETF, whatever? Do you think that they're like, oh yeah, let's just let the retail trader knows what we're going to do so they can front run us and we can get the worst prices, right? think about that for a moment. Now, the other thing I want to touch on, let's take a look at the macro view real quick. All right. We're going to start with the bond market here. Okay. So look, this is the bond market, 10-year note. I talk about this every week. I tell you guys to check it all the time. This market, let's go to a weekly chart. Okay. This market is not bullish at all. There's nothing bullish about this. You can clearly see that, right? This means rates have yet to turn around or show any signs of turning. Now, maybe this is the peak of interest rates, because obviously the rates are, I'll show you the rate chart, right? It's inverse to this. The US 10 yield, right? I mean, that's the rates, okay? Now, that's obviously a bullish chart. It has yet to tell us of any type of change, right? We have a higher high, maybe we pull back a bit, and maybe we form a higher low if this trend is going to stay intact, right? As long as that's the case and rates continue on this path, I don't know where any magical rally is going to come from, because we need cheap money. So my point is, and I talk about that all the time, my point is that Bitcoin can just be seeing some sort of irrational move because too many people were short, someone manipulating something to facilitate their agenda in the face of rising rates, which does not make sense in terms of economics. Because what I'm saying is, what is going to sustain that Bitcoin rally? Sure, we can have a dramatic move. Maybe we can even touch 40K possibly, right? We're close enough. But what's going to sustain that? What's going to create an asset bubble? What is going to invite all the new money in when there is no new money? The retail trader, you think the retail trader is speculating right now? They can't even, they're worried about how they're going to pay their rent. They can't even go grocery shopping without, they have to cut what they buy at the grocery store because the inflation is too high. And these items are like, they're paying twice what they were paying for nonsense, right? So where's the money going to come from is my question. And the same goes for the stock market, right? The stock market has one nice day. Everyone's all excited. Okay, let's take a quick look. Let's go back to the daily chart. I know I'll get off my rant in a second, but hold on. Let me just show you this. I want to go to daily chart. And I want to go to, let's just take a quick look at the stock market. We'll take a look at the S&P, SPX, USD, which is the CFD. Right, so everyone's all excited, right? Bullish move, but that's nothing in terms of this bigger picture. It's a great location for a long, by the way. Okay, I mean, we talked about this level. I've talked about this level before. It is a support level for a long, and that's exactly what you want to see. But this is ideal for day trades and swing trades. Perhaps this is the bottom of the Santa rally. I'm seeing November sales. We're not even in November yet. I'm getting emails from companies. Oh, we're going to start our holiday sale. Man, this early? Not even in November yet. Okay. Anyway, maybe this is the bottom of the Santa rally. Okay, possibly. But that's the kind of risk you take as a swing trader. Maybe or as a day trader, this is great. But as far as investing, not with the rates looking like they were looking. No way. Okay, the rates are not getting supportive. They're not getting friendlier. So that's why this meeting that we have on Wednesday from the FOMC may be very telling. What is he going to say? Is he going to be hawkish? Is he going to be dovish? Unless you know him personally or someone that works for him, and unless they tell you in advance, there's no way to know. Okay? So those are like the main points. That's the problem that I have with this Bitcoin nonsense. And because of that, you have to think your priorities should be protect myself, right? Protect yourself. Not, oh, it's going to go to 50K. I'm going to invest all the money I got. And I'm going to be a billionaire so I could drive Lamborghinis like all my favorite fake gurus. No. You have to think defensively. I need to protect myself. If you're going to invest, these are horrendous levels to be buying more. All right. You want to buy support levels, if anything. I was explaining this the other day in my student meeting. If anything, you want to buy support levels. This is not a support level. All right. As an investor. And because rates are not friendly, you want to be a little more conservative on that buying, right? You want to buy less. And if we get better prices in the future, then you want to buy more. Now, here's one thing I want to say about that. If Bitcoin barely pulls back, let's say Bitcoin only pulls back to 30K, right? Or 32K. Let's say it barely pulls back over the next couple of months. And then rates change their path, right? Powell comes out, someone says, okay, we've been too hawkish, we're making a change. Right, something like that comes out. And Bitcoin has not pulled back. Well, then we have a more supportive environment coming, then it's okay if you want to use that as your benchmark and say, okay, I can invest a little more here because the environment is getting better, right? Or you wait for pullbacks, even if it's at higher prices, right? You rally off of 32K, you're back at 38K, you're like, oh, I missed it. No, you haven't missed anything. It's better to be in a friendlier environment than trying to get the best price. Write that in your notes. Okay. Best price is extremely expensive and can cost you your whole account. While if you buy maybe at not the best price, but you're accumulating in a better environment, then chances are you're not going to experience so much pain, because if rates are coming off, that should bolster speculative assets. Have you seen the Russell 2000? Speaking of speculative assets. All right, you guys. So let me see what you guys have any questions here. Let me see. Student questions. Oh, wait, hold on. So let me go over CHZ. All right, this is when all my people start signing off. They're like, all right, enough. We don't want to see CHZ. All right, CHZ. This is for Stian because he asked me like a week ago and I completely forgot. Okay. So CHZ is an altcoin, obviously. And he said that it follows Bitcoin. So look at this thing. I mean, you have a support here, right? What is this low? What is this low on CHZ? 55.16 is the low. So that's your range low, right? You have basically you're fooling around your range high. Look at this. It's an old support, new resistance, and you're fooling around. So I wouldn't be something like this again. You would swing trade. You would not invest, right? I'm sorry. You would invest, not really swing trade. That's what I meant to say, because this is not exactly a swing trade type of mover here. So if you're going to invest, I mean, you could take small bites here, but again, just like I explained, if you're going to do it, wait for maybe a test of support or some kind of pullback if you're going to play that game. But like I said, I suspect that until rates really change their tune, you're more likely to see better prices or lower prices coming into these things, right? So I wouldn't expect anything dramatic. You're going to need an asset bubble. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is a weekly chart. Look where this thing's coming from, right? I mean, this thing is pretty much at its bottom. And with unfavorable rates, how is this thing going to find traction, right? So if you're going to invest in this thing, I don't know much about it, what it does exactly or anything, or if it really has any future, but at least wait for better prices. And I wouldn't put a lot of money into something like this. If you're going to invest in these things, you want to at least bet on the ones that are the more capitalized, the ones that appear to be more stable and have a future, right? Like Bitcoin and Ethereum sort of thing, right? Those are the more conservative ones. When it comes to investing anyway, when you're dealing with altcoins, you're gambling most of the time anyway. And you want to wait for a better environment. Then they'll just all randomly start moving. If we ever have that opportunity again with low rates, most likely we'll see that kind of bubble. But it's most likely not the same ones that were rock stars in previous years. Always remember that. It could be a new one, and you just want to take your opportunity, right? If you've accumulated some, you don't take big risks, and you get that move, you take your money out, okay? And stop thinking of that whole get rich thing, because that does not serve you well. All right, let me see what else we got here real quick. I know I've been ranting a lot today. Let me see what's going on with TradingView. All right, you stop the free Q&A on the streams. Well, no, so it's not that I stop. I only answer for students because I'm trying to shorten the streams. And if I answer all the Q&As, then I'll never be able to get this done in time. I'm over my time right now. All right. Okay. All right. Just looking at that. Okay, cool. Are you guys spamming me? What's going on over here? All right. What's your website? I don't see any website on here. All right, guys, don't spam my chats. Come on, really. You have better things to do. That's on TradingView. All right, let me see here. Okay, I'm just looking at some of the chats. There was a lot of info on chain about orders. Bitfinex makes a lot of spoofing. Okay, I wouldn't go on that on chain stuff, but okay. Because again, yeah, they can spoof that stuff. If you go back and you look at the complaints from the CFTC or no, the SEC sued Coinbase or whatever it was, just look at the complaints, right? Read them carefully, and you'll see how this game is played. All right, you can't go by that a lot of that stuff. You'll see how the game is played when they explain it in the complaints. No one reads those, all right? Because they're boring, you know. It's lawyer stuff, but it's very telling, and it really exposes a lot. You really want to see what this game is about, read those legal complaints. The other great legal complaint, my Forex funds, read that complaint. That's a prop firm. I've talked about it before. That basically they give you money. You take a test, you pay money, and you can get access to capital to trade Forex and blah, blah, blah. Read that complaint from the CFTC, I believe, sued them. Read that complaint. You want to see how that business works? And they all work exactly the same way. I see all these guys coming, oh, no, they don't all work that way. Yes, they do. Read that complaint if you want to know how the business works. All right, and where you fit in the business. Could the big guys have been hold BTC? Look, they have deep pockets, right? So if they have a good idea, because they can access inside information, they have access to information that we do not. And they can see, you know, where there really is some support or not. They can accumulate, and even if it goes against them to a point, they can afford that. They're not going to get margined out of anything, right? They can afford that. And they can make things happen, right? Again, this is not a regulated game when it comes to Bitcoin and the altcoins. Always keep that in the front of your mind. It's not a regulated game. This isn't the stock market. And even the stock market, there are problems because the SEC is like asleep half the time. All right. Okay. Hey, Han, no problem. 10x for the explanation. Okay, cool. Thanks. The relationship between broker and retail trader is the same as the one between farmer and his cattle. I like that. That's a good analogy. All right, you guys. So, I mean, I think I pretty much addressed all these things. Can you check link? Oh, Alex. Okay. It broke out on a 1.5 year range. Okay. I could check link. Alex is one of my moderators. Okay. Link USD. So, well, this is exactly like Bitcoin. It's the same deal. Real quick, 1 week chart. Look at this. So I see the range breakout. That's nice, but that's, you know, you could thank Bitcoin for that, right? I mean, that's quite a breakout there. Look at this. Wow. Okay. So in a situation like that, again, for one, always keep Bitcoin in mind. I know I'm just explaining this for other people who may not be familiar. Keep Bitcoin in mind, right? With a move like this, you're looking for a pullback to here, right? You want to pull back to that range high. If you're going to consider any type of trade, maybe you get a tighter pullback. You're going to have to keep in mind, you know, stay on top of that. If you're looking for swing trades, you may get like a tighter pullback, something in here. But this would be the ideal, right? That's the ideal area because that's an old, pretty solid resistance, which should act as a support. Keep in mind, if you don't have Bitcoin supporting you on that, then, you know, then it's meaningless. Does that make sense? So thanks for pointing that out. You're going to see a lot of these altcoins have these squeezes. There were probably lots of shorts all over the place, and Bitcoin kind of throws off that whole balance because they still follow the leader, okay? And the leader is Bitcoin. All right, you guys. So you guys should pretty much be clear. You guys should be prepared for the scenarios coming this week, right? Some potential scenarios. And you guys should be prepared to factor in the economic reports that we talked about, all right, for the next few days. Okay. So what do I think about trend lines? Well, I use horizontal trend lines. I don't use the other ones. They can be, look, a trend line is better than a moving average. I'll tell you that because a trend line could project the future, a price into the future where a moving average cannot. But I prefer the horizontal trend lines because of that human phenomenon between old supports and new resistances and all that stuff. My students know what I'm talking about. All right. So, okay, cool. Let me just see. Is the current BTC spike not geopolitical? It could be. It could be part of that. I suspect. I mean, when you look at gold went to 2,000, by the way, right? It was a little over 2,000. It's pulling back a bit, but there was that coincidental move. Also, you had gold and you had Bitcoin doing the same thing. So I suspect that may have been part of the equation. Okay, so if that kind of cools off, right, then that's one less catalyst behind Bitcoin. But that may have been also a coincidental thing that was occurring at the same time. Okay. So, all right. Anyway, you guys, look, if I missed your question, you guys can find, you guys know where to find me. You can send me a private message in the Discord community. By the way, if you get a private message from me first, then probably it's a fraud. So you can report them right away because it's an impersonator. Sometimes we have that problem. Okay. But you can send me a message and then I will respond. Always keep that in mind. We have a fraud channel just for that. Anyway, so again, if you like my stream, press the like button. Please press the subscribe button. It helps me a lot, and I do have more useful content on the way. Okay, so I appreciate that, you guys. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you. I want to say thank you all thank you all for taking the time with me here today. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world, and thank you for watching.